Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Daily Red Devil. Please do me a small favour before we start today's episode. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner, and be sure to like the video as well. Let's try and see 500 likes. Before we get into today's video, I have a question to start the show off, and the question is this. What would you rate the January transfer window for Manchester United out of 10? Let me know in the comment section. We will start the show off there. So, obviously, the final ingoings for the club were Patrick Dorgu for 25 million. We also got Aiden Heaven from Arsenal, who is a youth player. We had to pay Arsenal 1.5 million in compensation for him. And I've also seen that Manchester United are trying to claim that Diego Leon, who is also a 17-year-old youth player, who doesn't even play for the club at the moment and is on loan still in Paraguay, is also a signing. So the official statement, the official wording from the club is that we signed 3 players in January, apparently. Patrick Dorgu, Aiden Heaven, and Diego Leon. And the word coming out from the club is that they feel relaxed and they feel like they had a very good window. Genuine comments that are coming out from the media this morning that's been briefed by Manchester United that they think they've had a good window and they're relaxed about the rest of the season. I'm honestly speechless. I mean, it just shows how far the standards have dropped, that they think that we're fully equipped to go into the rest of this season with what we've got. Our only attacking players are Joshua Zirkzee, who scored 1 goal in 12 games, Rasmus Højlund, who's scored 1 goal in 12 games, Garnacho, who's a 20-year-old who's still learning his craft, and Ahmad, who's only playing his first full season for Manchester United. That is our attacking options. And our only real way of getting European football next season is by winning the Europa League. I guess if you win the FA Cup, you get Europa League, don't you? But the point I'm making is we didn't strengthen at all. Patrick Dorgu's going to go in at that left wing-back position, but some people are saying that he's not even ready to start yet, that he's just like a prospect for the future. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But I want to know your ratings out of 10. So get in the comment section now. What are your ratings for this transfer window out of 10? I guess we can do it as 2 different ones. So we'll do ingoings. I would probably say, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure you can count Aiden Heaven and Diego Leon as signings, to be honest. Like, really? 2 youth players who may never even play first-team football for Manchester United. I hope they do, and I hope they are everything we dream that they're going to be. But do you remember in the summer, Chido Obi-Martin was paraded around like a new signing, and everyone was like, oh, he's world-class, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't even had a minute of first-team football yet. So I'm not going to get too excited about youth players. So realistically, the only player that we've signed who is actually a first-team player is Patrick Dorgu. I would say ingoings, maybe a 2 out of 10. Maybe that's being kind. You know, when you see Man City spent £200 million in this window, and I know Man City might have different financial situation to us. I know people will say they have 115 charges. I get all of that, but still. Man City lose 1 player in Rodri and go for a little bit of a bad run, and they spend 200 million in one window, in a January window. That's unheard of. Manchester United are a 14th place in the Premier League table. I think 9 points off relegation, have lost 5 out of the last 7 home games, are in the worst place they've ever been in Premier League history, and we buy an unknown player from the Serie A for 25 million, and that's our way of rebuilding our squad. Man City are, I think, still 5th. They're still in the Champions League place. They're still in the Champions League. They're still in the FA Cup, and they've spent 200 million. So, yeah, for me, it's a 2 out of 10 on the ingoings. Outgoings, I mean, Anthony leaving on loan, I probably would have kept Anthony at this point. If they'd have told me that Anthony and Rashford are leaving and you're going to sign no attacking players, I would have probably kept Anthony. I know he's not very good, but at least we would have had an extra number, an extra player. Like, what happens if Garnacho and Ahmad get injured? Mason Mount's injured. I just think it's a complete mess, to be honest. And I think, you know, the narrative that we're getting this morning, hence why it says it in the video title, is that apparently the summer's going to be the big window. The summer's where they're going to spend lots of money. Apparently, that's what they're putting out to the media this morning. But how are they going to spend all this money if we don't get European football? If Manchester United don't get European football, it's going to cost us so heavily. And the way I see it is, we needed to invest in the squad in January to try and get us European football next season. Now, I'm not saying go and sign 10 players. I'm saying we should have done some loan deals. We should have got Mathys. We could have got a centre-back, knowing that Martinez has got injured. You probably could have got a midfielder on loan. We could have done some deals in the loan market. We had the money to do it. And that's the bit that's frustrated me the most. So in relation to the outgoings, I'd probably say maybe a 2 out of 10 as well. You know, Rashford on loan, that wasn't a bad deal, I think. Rashford on loan, I was quite happy with that. Anthony, the problem is, right, the outgoings would have looked all right if we'd have been able to replace those players. You know, if we'd have got a replacement for Rashford, a replacement for Anthony, a replacement for Malacia, then I would have looked at the situation and thought, this is not a bad window. But all we've really actually done is made ourselves weaker and made the Glazers and INEOS more money. That's effectively all we've done. Because we've saved a substantial amount of money in these players' wages, with obviously Aston Villa paying 75% of Rashford's 325k a week salary, and Real Betis are paying around 86% of Anthony's 150k a week salary. We've saved about £10 million between now and the end of the season on those two players alone. And then you look at Malacia. I think from what I've read, PSV are going to pay all of Malacia's salary, which is about 75 grand a week. So when you look at those three players, not including all the kind of young players that we got rid of as well, we'll have probably saved about 15 million in wages between now and the end of the season. And Patrick Dorgu's only on about 30 grand a week. So it doesn't really add up. And obviously how transfers work, we won't be paying Patrick Dorgu's fee up front. We'll be paying it over like a 5-year period. So I wouldn't be surprised if at the very most, we probably only gave Lecce about 5 million in this window for Patrick Dorgu, and then we'll give him 5 next year, 5 the year after, etc., etc. So we probably actually came out of this transfer window having made money with a profitable net spend, which is just embarrassing, to be honest. If we were top of the table, had an amazing squad, you know, a world-class player in every position, a decent backup in every position, I would say no problem, good business, well done. But when you think that we're in the worst place we've ever been, we've just brought in a manager who plays a completely different style and has a squad of players who at the moment don't suit that style and don't know how to play it. It's not good enough. And for them to then come out and say to us that they're relaxed, that they think they've had a good window, I mean, what planet are they living on? How can they be relaxed? I don't think there's anybody watching this video who feels relaxed at the moment about how Manchester United are playing on the football pitch. And I don't think anybody in this chat feels relaxed enough to think that we can get away with letting more players leave without giving them any replacements at all. But yeah, so I would say 2 out of 10 for ingoings, 2 out of 10 for outgoings. Overall, it was a 2 out of 10 window. And when you think about it as well, yeah, it's been over a year since INEOS took over Manchester United. They officially took over. I think it was on Christmas Eve, wasn't it? 2023. So it's been about 14, 15 months now. The first window they were here in January 2024, they didn't do any deals at all. In the summer, they did do some deals, but their net spend was way less than what it would have been under a Glazers ownership. The Glazers used to spend about 200 million every summer. Yes, a lot of that money was badly spent, but they did used to spend a lot of money. And when you look at at INEOS's net spend this summer, it wasn't very much because they did let a lot of players go. And when you look at the players that left, it was a lot of players who would have been 100% profit. People like McTominay, people like Mason Greenwood, people like Willy Camboala, people like Hannibal Mejbri, people like, do you know what I mean? Like we made about 60, 70 million off those 3 or 4 players alone. And they obviously were from the youth academy. So yeah. So overall, I'm giving this window maybe a 2 out of 10. And we just have to remember that all the frustration and disappointment needs to be aimed towards the owners of this football club, not towards Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim has not been given the tools. He's not been given the tools to do his job. It's as simple as that. So you can't expect miracles from a man. You can't expect him to be able to get this team, who took 10 years to just about play a 4-3-3, to suddenly come in and use these same players to try and play a completely different formation. The way I see it as well, right? I just think that the biggest mistake here out of all of this is that they should have just not got Ruben Amorim until the summer. That would have made so much more sense, because at least then he could have come in the summer when they had their amount, they had their big amount of money to spend, and he could have sculpted the squad and he would have had time with the players. Obviously, there's no like Euros or World Cup this summer, so they'd have had a full pre-season. That would have been the most sensible thing to do. Kept Ruud van Nistelrooy till the summer, or even kept Erik ten Hag till the summer. I would have been happy with either of those to stay till the summer, knowing that Ruben Amorim was going to be the manager in the summer. And I think it would have been a much more sensible thing. He was on the brink of winning he was doing very well in the Portuguese league. He was in the Champions League. Like, he could have had an amazing season still at Sporting Lisbon. Instead, he comes to Manchester United, and the headline is Ruben Amorim joins Manchester United and makes them worse, because he has technically made us worse at the moment, which isn't surprising. But he's come to Manchester United and he's smashing all of the records. I saw a crazy stat yesterday that in Jose Mourinho's whole time at Manchester United, he didn't lose 5 home games, and Ruben Amorim's lost 5 out of the last 7 home games in his first 7 games. So all he's doing so far is it is worse than what we had before. And some portions of the fan base, if this continues, which I'm 99% sure this will continue, there will be some people who start to turn on Ruben Amorim, and I don't agree with that at all. I'm not going to turn on Ruben Amorim, because I didn't even turn on Erik ten Hag, and there was people like, oh, you're deluded, you don't know what you're talking about. And I said to everybody at the time that regardless of who the manager is, with these set of players and these owners, like, we're not going to be successful. And people were like, oh, bring in Nagelsmann and everything will be fine. Bring in, like, I just don't see it. But so yeah, the biggest mistake for me is that they should have just kept a different manager till the summer, because then if that happened, it wouldn't have mattered if we didn't sell or buy anybody in January. You know, we would have just said, we're waiting until the summer. But instead, they bring, I don't know, frustrating. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think about this window. Let me know in the comment section. What is your rating out of 10? Let me know. I could see quite a few people in the chat saying that we should have just kept Erik ten Hag till the summer. Even from a financial standpoint, imagine how much money we would have saved in paying off Erik ten Hag if we'd have kept until the summer. You know? Like, that would have been probably another 5 or 6 million. But, yeah. So we'll see what happens with that one. But let's move on to Mathys Tel quickly. So the latest on Mathys Tel is that apparently Bayern Munich were asking for a £5 million loan fee to take Mathys Tel to the end of the season, and Manchester United said they didn't want to do it and walked away. Some people in the fan base are saying, oh, that's really good, well done. Other people are like, what the hell are you doing? Well, how do you feel about that? Should Manchester United have paid Bayern Munich the £5 million? Let me know. Would you pay £5 million for Mathys Tel till the end of the season? I mean, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because he doesn't really have enough stats or data to be able to definitively say, yes, we should have kept Mathys Tel. But at the same time, as I said, when you let go of Rashford, Malacia, Antony, and you're getting anywhere between 10 and 15 million pounds worth of wages and bonuses and all the rest of it, because obviously there'll be loan fees and there'll be all these other things. The only data we have at the moment, the only stats we have at the moment are the amount of the wages that's being paid to us for each player. But there will be like bonuses, there'll be loan fees and all the rest of it. So let's say that we've got anywhere between 10 and 15 million pounds, right? We would have had the money to be able to get Mathys Tel. So, yeah. I can see Al says, I wouldn't have paid a £5 million loan fee. That's a total rip-off. I get you that it's a lot of money, right? But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it is that much money. And the biggest example of this is in 2021, on January the 31st, so on transfer deadline day, Manchester United paid SH Shenhua, Chinese team, 12 million euros, which is double what Bayern Munich were asking for, to loan a 32-year-old Igalo on transfer deadline day. So when you look at it like that, and I know people will say, oh, well, that was a bad transfer, so we're not repeating the mistakes of the past, but I agree that paying 12 million for Igalo was a bad deal, but I don't think 5 million for Mathys Tel is an awful deal in the grand scheme of things. You know, if it helps us with our goals for this season, then I think it's worth it, isn't it? Even if you finish one place higher in the table because of a goal he scores, your £5 million will be back to you, you know? And then you even look at Weghorst. We paid Burnley 3 million for Weghorst. That was in 2023. So it's not that much off what other teams are asking for, I don't think. You know, we paid 3 million for Weghorst on loan and we paid 12 million for Igalo on loan, and Bayern wanted 5 for Mathys Tel. So, I don't know. Obviously, it's a matter of opinion, but yeah. And just to be clear as well, Tottenham have paid that 5 million, and there is also a buy option for Mathys Tel and Tottenham. So there you go. Ranjit says that Igalo is better than all of our current strikers. I'd probably agree, to be fair. I would. Al says, what about Amrabat? Yeah, I forgot about Amrabat. How much did we pay Fiorentina for Amrabat? Way more than 5 million. We paid Fiorentina 10 million euros to have Amrabat for one season. That's why I didn't think when I heard 5 million that it was that unreasonable. When you look at how much other players are going for, we paid 10 million for Amrabat for a season. We paid 12 million for Igalo for half a season, and we paid 3 million for Weghorst for half a season. We could have done the deal. They just obviously decided not to. And what has to happen now is that this summer has to be absolutely massive. You know, you need to go and get Gyökeres. You need to go and get these big name players to hold any chance. We can't go into this next window being like, oh, we're going to sign a player from Arsenal who's 17, who's never even played a first team minute of football, and try and brand them as a new signing. You know? Like, that's never happened before. Like, they didn't even do that with Chido Obi Martin. They didn't kind of parade him on the pitch and all the rest of it. Whereas with Aiden Heaven, and I'm not trying to disrespect Aiden Heaven, I hope he has an amazing career and I hope he looks like a great signing, but he'd never played a minute of first team football for Arsenal in his whole career. He's only just turned 17, and they parade him out at Old Trafford as if he's one of the new signings. I mean, I feel a little bit sorry for him, to be honest, because if he does actually start getting first team minutes, he's being thrown right in at the deep end in a horrible, horrible situation. And he probably is going to have to be thrown in because obviously Martinez is out for God knows how long. Martinez has done his ACL, for anybody who didn't hear. ACL injuries can be anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And most of the time when someone does their ACL, they don't come back the same player. And we said this before, don't we? Like, Martinez for me is injury prone. I think the way he plays, the aggression he plays with, which I like, seems to make him pick up a lot of injuries. He was injured for 6 months, and he's now just got injured again and will be out for a minimum of 6 months. So that's a massive problem. But Luke Shaw is apparently on his way back, so maybe he can cover at left-sided centre-back. Obviously, Mazraoui can play at centre-back or right-sided centre-back. So we do have options in that position. But it is obviously a bit disappointing to lose Martinez. But let's see if there's any comments coming in. Some people are saying that Igalo wasn't that bad. Yeah, Igalo was all right. You know, he wasn't. He was a good stopgap until the summer. Emmanuel says a straight loan without a buy option is bad. You are just developing a raw talent for Bayern. There is a buy option in that contract with Mathys Tel and Bayern Munich and Tottenham. Right, let's move over to this massive summer transfer then. So all of the reports this morning from Manchester Evening News, etc., are saying that Manchester United are preparing themselves for what they describe as a massive summer transfer window. What does a massive summer transfer window mean for Manchester United? Who will they sign? That's the big question. I don't know at this point. I honestly have no idea. I mean, does a massive summer transfer window mean buying players from Arsenal's youth academy that have never played football? Does it mean getting Gyökeres? Like, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I have no idea what they're cooking up here, because the way I see it is this. It's simple. If we don't get European football, how are we going to spend big in the summer? The only way we can spend big in the summer is if we sell youth players, realistically. So that might be Garnacho. Obviously, Rashford will probably go. Maybe even Manu will be put up for sale. Where are they going to raise the funds? If they don't have the funds now because of PSR, why are they going to have more money in 6 months' time when we're out of probably any European competition and we're probably going to finish in the bottom half of the Premier League? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And the only way that I can see them spending big is if they strip assets, i.e. selling youth players. Because you've got to remember that from probably later on this year, there will be a new stadium plan going ahead, which is going to cost us even more money. So you remember what happened with Tottenham? Tottenham didn't spend money for ages when they were building their new stadium. And then for years after that, you know, you heard that, oh, Tottenham are paying off their stadium. And once the stadium's paid off, then they'll start spending money. It's going to be the same for Man United. If we can't spend money now, where are we going to get the money from the stadium? Where are we going to get, like, it's just a mess, isn't it? But, oh dear. Tactical Devil says, Kieran, why do we assume that INEOS will spend big in the summer? They're saving up for a new stadium. I agree. And as I said, this is just the story coming out from, you know, the newspapers, etc. today, that supposedly Manchester United will spend big in the summer. But I just don't really see how they're going to spend big in the summer if they're having to build a new stadium. Somebody says, don't forget we have the Kenda deal with Sporting in principle. I mean, we need something like that to come today. I'm not sure if that's actually 100% done, is it? The Kenda deal. You know? So just to be very, very clear as well, David Ornstein is reporting this morning that Matthias Tell to Tottenham, deal for 19-year-old attacker, loan until the summer, plus Tottenham have an option to buy at 55 million euros. So they have the option to buy it. I could see some people in the chat saying, oh, I'm glad we didn't do the Matthias Tell deal. I don't want to develop a player and then Bayern Munich get him back. As David Ornstein has reported this morning, there is an option in the summer for Tottenham to buy him for 55 million euros on a 6-year deal. So we missed out there big time. And then you also see Man City on deadline day signing a player for 60 million euros. You see AC Milan signing Joao Felix for a loan package of around £5 million. Like, there were deals to be done there. Joao Felix would have walked into our team 100%. I would have Joao Felix start over Xerxes and Højlund any day of the week. He was available for around 5 million until the summer. There was deals there for Manchester United to do, but they said, no, we're not going to. I just don't get it. And I think we just need to remember this window. When it gets to the summer, if we're not out there spending 150, 200 million, you know, we need to be getting attacking players, centre-backs, maybe even goalkeeper, wing-backs. Like, we need 5 or 6 players in the summer. It needs to be a massive, massive window. I hope and pray it will be. I just struggle to see how it would be if we don't have European football. That's the bit that I'm wrapping my head around. But I'm going to leave the video here, guys. The transfer window is closed. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Have a good day. Frustrating times, but yeah. I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye for now.